What's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hampton music moments and everything in between. I'm Stik Braxton.
And I am Mike D. Jackson. And also, I also think Drake is an alien.
Okay. Um,
You never
wow.
seen that interview before?
Yeah, no, uh-huh. Um, yeah.
He's an alien, bro. He's an alien.
Okay. Well, considering what he's been being called over the last few weeks, that's okay. That's not the worst thing he's been called. How are you doing, man?
Feeling good. Last few days has been kind of weird. Last week we were talking about or last time we were on here, talking about the weather being nice. Then it wasn't. So, I don't know. But I'm cool though. I can't complain, man. How about yourself?
All right, man. Yeah, the weather's weird. The weather's been up and down. I think we had like we had a flash flood warning yesterday where I was. So yeah, it's just and now the sun is just out and about. So yeah, I needed to be consistent. That's all.
Consistency is key, but I don't think that matters sometimes. Doesn't matter how many times you say it.
Yeah. But we're back, man, and we got a fun one today, at least from my perspective. I'll say this. This is one of those ones where I fondly remember it because it brings me back to a certain spot. We're listening to the Binge Volume 1. I think the full name is Staring at the Lava Lamp.
That is correct. Yes, sir. Binge Volume 1, Staring at the Lava Lamp. I actually had a little bit of issue with this. So doing some research, this tape technically came out 2006, 2007. We know it's older music. If you hear some of the beats on here, you could tell, hey, this is an older tape. On YouTube, there's different times people have uploaded this project.
Mhm.
Some people uploaded it maybe like 2011. Some people uploaded it later than that. And I'm like, okay, what's the actual date? Because we know it's 2006, 2007. Someone they put on there, hey, this is music from 2007. I looked it up. Someone said, oh, this is from 2006. But this is the best information I got from when it was given to us when once Charles was actually famous. So Pigeon and Planes in 2009, April 22nd, they put a link out, and basically Charles was upset not about the project being leaked, which is
Mhm.
crazy because it came out before, but we just didn't know about it. It was before Charles was popping like that. But
Yeah.
he just wanted to make sure people had the correct link. I want to read this real quick. It says, it's crazy how real Charles is about giving his music away. He doesn't even care when his fans give it away for him. He just wants to make sure the link is right. And Charles said this via his old blog, charleshamilton.blogspot.com. Y'all niggas trying to ruin the surprise I have for y'all later this year. The Binge Volume 1. Laughing my pink ass off. Fuck it. Great mixtape. Gets the point. Let me post the link. He said after Dope to Go, everyone was tight about whack links. So good luck. And then he dropped it. So long story short, this officially came out for us in somewhere around 2009. Charles had to leak it himself before everyone else did. But this is music from 2006, 2007. I think it's pretty interesting. Here's a real quick question. Do you think it's important for artists to do that when they have music before they get famous? And then when they kind of like blow up, like, hey, should I re-release this or should I just keep going? Do you think it's really important to, because this is a series, you know what I mean? You think it's important for them to backtrack us?
Uh, it depends, I guess, because oh man, that's a tough question. Because we've seen some successful artists do it, right? Like we'll take Drake is So Far Gone to be the most um I would say the most famous example, one of the most famous examples. So like Drake got popping and then he was able to re-release, quote unquote, So Far Gone, even though there was songs taken off, probably due to sample clearances and shit like that. Um I think for Charles, I think it was just like a regular occasion because this isn't the first time we've had a tape that was given to us later, but recorded previously. So it's interesting that it was something that was actually released prior. We just didn't know where it was or when it was, released to or whatever. So I think it's important to go back in a rapper or one of your favorite artists' catalog, because even though what they sound like today is good, it is a good idea to go back just to either hear what they sounded like before, like the journey, the rise up, or you might just find something that's gonna be good in there. Like I've done that multiple times where I'll listen to an artist, like if an artist pops on like Spotify or something, and I'll look in there like, oh, okay, let me see the song that's the most recent single. And I'm like, it's okay. I'll go back in their catalog and find stuff like, oh, this stuff right here, this little pocket here is really what I like. And I wish, you get into that mode where I wish they would do stuff like this more, whatever. But the artist, no, I mean, do whatever you want to do. I think for the consumer, go back and listen to stuff.
True. Only reason I asked this is because, this is pretty much what this podcast is about. Like we're archiving and trying to help archive Charles's music and his legacy. And it's one of those things where I know for me, it's like, hey, there's some of these tapes that, some of the other StarChasers haven't listened to, and
Mhm.
some of the ones that they've been telling us about, like, hey, you guys should check this out. And it's like, I never even heard of this. That's a
Mhm.
real tape. We look it up. Oh man, so it's just pretty interesting, everyone's opinion on that type of thing. Cause some people are like, it doesn't matter. Just I'm not going to go back and listen to it. And other people are like, well, even if it isn't my cup of tea, like I still want to check it out because you never know. You never know what you could be missing.
Very true. Do you remember listening to this tape at all and how you felt about it?
So for me, if it is true that like around 2009, that's when Charles like dropped it for everyone, I don't remember listening to it then,
Mhm.
but there are some songs that I've heard from this tape. So I know at some point I went back and listened to it. Like one of the YouTube pages that posted it, I know I listened to it from it then, but my first official, my intro to the Binge series was volume 3. So I heard it like almost backwards. I heard Binge 3, and then at some point I went back to like 1 and 2, but there's songs I definitely remember. I'm like, okay, I've heard this before. But if it's just like a clear cut day, like how I'm normally, oh, I remember this like it was yesterday. I was not with this tape. Maybe I've heard it once or twice, but it's vague for me. What about yourself?
This tape is it may not be one of my favorite tapes as we go along, but it is one that I remember fondly. I remember this, like I said, it's definitely 2009 when this came out because I remember going on spring break and running this tape into the ground. Like I was listening to like so many of my favorite songs on this tape at the time. When I went down to Florida with my girlfriend or whatever, and I was just like, I don't know, it was something about this style of his rapping at the time that I was really into. I mean, it's a blogger at this point, so this was very high on the list. Plus, it was like official mixtape, so I'm still on like the Little Wayne stuff and those type of mixtapes where you're rapping over people's beats and stuff. So this was like just like one of the last few of those type of eras, like before we started getting into the original music mixtapes, right? Your Wiz Khalifa's, your Mac Miller, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that this one I remember fondly. Like I remember looking back on here. So like if you asked me before we listened to this tape, like, how do you feel about this tape? I was like, yo, this is probably gonna be a very high tape for me, just off of nostalgia reasons only. But again, it's always important just to go back, listen with new ears, and then go from there. But I will say, nostalgia, rose tinted glasses. I really love this tape.
Okay. Understandable. I mean, of course, there's some tapes like that for me, but as we've learned, you go back to it, get a second, third listen, and you're like, hey, okay, maybe it's not exactly what I thought it was. So
Mhm.
times have changed. It's not 2009 anymore. It's 2024.
Yeah, we're old. Let's get to it, man. Here I am. Starts off the tape. Yeah, the song immediately kind of sounds familiar. The hook definitely sounds or familiar. What did you think about this one?
I was a little thrown off by this because, like you said, the hook sounds familiar. I'm like, wait, hold on. We've heard this before, or I heard this before. I'm like, there's no way.
Mhm.
I'm like, did you just like set me up or something like that, bro? Because I was like, bro, we've heard this song before. So I had to go back. I'm like, what was this from? I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is from American Gangster 2.0.
Mhm.
And in case you guys don't remember, somewhere around here, we got it. We reviewed American Gangster 1 and 2, but it was from Spinal Cords. It was from that. They had the same hook. And I'm like, all right, well, I was like, okay, so the hooks are definitely the same. I listened to the verses. I'm like, okay, the verses are different. And then technically, I guess this makes sense now because if this came out first in like 2006, 2007, then Charles redid it when he did American Gangster 2.0. I'm like, all right, so this is the original and that's the remix. So you talked to me about this before. Sometimes you compare and contrast songs. Overall, to me, it's a good verse. It's a good verse. You know, he spit some bars on there. I like the American Gangster 2.0 version before as more than this. It's one of those things where this sounds more like a rough draft compared to the other song, Spinal Chords on repeat. So I'm like, it's good, it's good. But like I said, the other song I heard, I'm like, and it doesn't help that I heard that first before the other one. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I actually forgot that this was here. I forgot that Here I Am is was like kind of the like we said the original. I'm with you, Spinal Chords. Uh, was it a Spinal Chords on repeat? I believe this was the full name,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
like that better too. I think the verses on that one is tighter. Plus, it's a song. Spinal Chords on repeat is a song, so that kind of helps it in this like comparison battle that we're doing. With that being said, Here I Am is a really good, like I say, really good verse, freestyle, however you want to put it. He's really getting his bars up. There was something about this era, that early Charles era, where he's he's into crafting songs, right? But a lot of his early stuff is I just want to rap, and I want to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like if that makes sense, because you'll see as the evolution of it goes, and maybe one day we'll kind of discuss that. You can see the evolution of him going from I'm just Mr. Rapidy Rap guy, and I'm you know what I'm saying. Then he moves into I can craft like amazing songs or singles and stuff, and then I create like really good bodies of work, and like that evolution, and he kind of carries each one over to the next like stage. Um, Here I Am is he's in that real I want to rap type of vibe, and it's a like I said it's a good freestyle. Like I said, Spinal Chords is better. Him talking the shit at the end is kind of fun, as always. He still has that real brashy attitude that he had back then. So it's a good freestyle. Cool. Wouldn't say it blew me away, but it's good.
Yeah, like I said, for a mixtape around this 2006, 2007 era, something that you would normally expect. So good intro for that time being. I have no problems with it. And also, like I said, the whole braggadocious thing that he was doing, especially then. And he kind of carried on with how rap continued because rap will always evolve and grow. And that's what he continued to do with his music. Because imagine if it was still, and I don't know if you know, but I know some people in my local area that rap and they still rap like it's 2007. It's like,
Mhm.
hey, man, like the raps aren't bad, but you got to do something different, man. Come on.
Right. Stuck in a time warp.
Yeah.
Uh, Boredom is next. Now, I'll be honest, this is one of the ones this is the one I ran into the ground in Florida. I was running this into the ground. This is he's rapping over I want to say it's a Gnarls Barkley beat. Am I right or wrong? I want to say yes.
No.
Not
You're
Gnarls
close.
Barkley?
It's not Gnarls Barkley. It's CeeLo, but Gnarls
That's
Barkley
it.
is
Okay.
CeeLo and someone else, you know.
Got it.
But it's
Okay.
CeeLo and Timberland. I'll be around.
Okay. Uh I love this record. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Again, if the beat's a good part of it. Again, this is one of those ones where you kind of have to when we're reviewing, you kind of have to separate the beat from the rapping because we really have to focus on the rapping because we know a lot of the beats. And Charles is getting the shit off. He's having a good time. Uh, kind of kind of a self depreciation thing at like the end where he's I want to say that it sounds like Nate's in the booth like imitating somebody saying he's gonna flame Charles Hammond. I think it might be Charles. I can't really figure out which is which. Um, but yeah, it's just a good record. I think what did you say on there? He says my punchlines got golden gloves, so I think a whole verse would really fuck you up. He's really getting the shit off. He's going real hard on it. So I like this one a lot. This is still one of my favorites. I can turn this on any day of the week and listen to it and we'll be fine.
Right. So for me, number one, the beat, phenomenal beat. I love that beat. Just period. You know what I mean? Like Timberland, especially at this point, and whoever and some of those heavy hitters, can't go wrong with that. You know what I mean? I think what kind of hurts me a little bit because the original song I really like a lot. Like it's one of those things where like if you play that somewhere or whatever, I'm getting down. I'm getting on the floor and dancing and whatnot.
Well, I've seen you get down.
Oh, trust me, I know you have. And if anyone else, if y'all follow me on Instagram, you might see it too. So follow my OnlyFans. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't have OnlyFans yet. But no, chill. No, but with with this song, like I said, Charles, he has his bars and he's spitting them. And it's funny because what I've noticed, certain popular beats that Charles will get on, whether it's around this time or maybe a little bit later, 2008, 2009, just the whole mixtape era.
Mhm.
Sometimes he'll take certain beats serious and sometimes he won't. And I think that's part of him being the musician where he's like, man, like it's part of him being that cockiness of like, oh man, I could do this. I could have made a hit to this. I could have made a hit to that, you know.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's about the vibe or the flow that you got going on a song. You know, if people dig it, they dig it. It doesn't matter exactly, you know, how lyrical, miracle, spiritual you could be on there. So I'm glad he didn't overdo it with that. You know, he got his bars in, but also he had fun with it because it's a fun beat. You listen to it, just the instrumental itself, it's just like, hey, it's just a fun beat. So I like it. It's cool. I will say I prefer the original song better, but it's not a bad remix or flip that Charles did to it.
I think that's the kind of like I was saying, how you gotta focus real on the rapping because with these kind of tapes, if you really like the original song, it's really hard to separate the two. There have been plenty of times where he's had songs where you're like, "Oh, okay, I may still like the original, but what he did with this really kind of it I don't mind it. Like it's like right there. And it hasn't it doesn't affect the way I view how what Charles did. But then there are some songs where you're like, bro, you should have done something better with this. And I think that's, that can happen a lot with these kind of tapes.
Yeah, of course. And my thing is this is not like I'm getting a knock on him. Like if I don't
Mhm,
like it, it just means I don't like it, you know. It's just one of those things where I don't mind it. You know what I mean? Like we talked about it before on the episode where he did the I'm pretty sure he rapped on Jay-Z's song, right? The
mhm,
Danity Kane Girls. I like that verse. You know what I mean?
mhm,
I actually would probably prefer that almost a little bit more than Jay. I think it's just a preference thing though.
mhm.
I do get what you mean though. Like that's why I'm trying to be careful where I'm not comparing them too much. At the same time though, I gotta be real because if I'm going to be like giving my honest opinion about it, it's like, all right, well, either I liked it or I didn't. But I'm trying not to mention too much of like who originally did these songs though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's important though, just kind of for informational purposes too. Plus it might affect not affect, but it might lend into the conversation. So I'm not mad at that at all, bro.
True.
Uh Come Out and Play. That features
Proven.
Proven.
Yep.
Uh what did you think about first of all, who is Proven? Because what I learned recently, we did an episode recently on staff development, and I learned a lot of information. Shout out to Shalik, man. He definitely gave us a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff. Remember when we talked about how like I was like, oh, I know Swiss was a member, and we found out that Swiss and BA are the same person.
Yeah. Uh it reminds me of D12 where you know like there's Slim Shady Eminem, same person, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's certain artists they have like different names and whatnot. Like it's like the same person, but they have like different aliases. Trust me, when he said that, I'm like, oh, okay. But it's like certain names like that. I'm like, oh, okay. I've heard a few songs from Proven before, like
Mhm.
from this era of
Yeah.
Demevolist, but I don't think he has a another alias. Like if I
Okay.
ever seen him on a song, it's just been Proven. But
Okay.
obviously we've seen more people like ISA,
Yeah.
Nate, Show, people like that. We've seen them more prevalent on tapes, but Proven has been on a couple songs, especially in the early days. So
Right.
but
What
when
do
it
you feel
comes
about
to
how you feel about the song?
be honest, I'm not really a fan of the beat. The beat, I can't remember whose beat it is, or if it's just, I don't think it's original. I think it's someone else's beat.
Mhm.
Not really a fan of the beat. The verses were okay. Crazy thing is, we're talking about Proven. I feel like Proven fit on this beat more than Charles did. It's one of those things where I've heard that before, where someone will be like, "Oh, you know, you didn't do bad on this beat. It's just that your voice didn't feel, like it was suited for it. And maybe it felt more like a beat for Prove It. So like I've heard his verse, so I'm like, I'm not a little bit more than I am to Charles. And maybe it's just like I said, the beat, I wasn't really feeling it. So song's kind of for me.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like, I don't think I needed it. It wasn't one that I was playing back then. So I had to play this one a few times to kind of figure out. And there'll be times where I'm like, "Oh, okay, I like it." And then there will be another time where I'm like, I'm doing something different and I'm playing it. And I'm like, I don't know. I do like your point about proving kind of sounding better for this beat. And I wonder if this is one of those situations where it would have been beneficial to just let him rap over it by himself. Because we've seen Charles do that where he just lets somebody just have a track by themselves and just go crazy. Or let just Charles do like a hook or something, and that would be fine. Maybe that would have been better because the hook is cool. I like the hook. The hook is good. I'm like you, the beat is I don't think I would need to listen to the original. Maybe the original does it justice, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm like you, it's just here. I could probably have done without it.
Yeah, for the most part, that's all I got.
Do we address the interludes? I guess we could just briefly. Ted Wheeler, just briefly.
Yeah, it's one of the homies saying, "Yo, I see you, Charles. See what you're doing. It's the binge, giving everybody a little breather and whatnot. So nothing crazy. It's not any bars really being spit. Just letting everybody know what the binge is. Like you're listening to the binge, like commercial break, basically.
Old school mixtape stuff. I like that.
Yeah,
Next song is literally just called Freestyle, featuring C Nails.
right. I was getting confused because I want to say at some point Charles used to rap with some guy named Novanels, but I don't think that's the same person. Um, but with this, uh, CNL snapped. I can say that. I'm like, okay. And it's one of those things where you don't always see that where it's like someone featuring on your project raps before you do,
Hmm.
And that's one of those things where sometimes you gotta be careful because some people will be like, oh man, you had your feature snap on your song harder than you did. Oh, you got blown out of the water on your song. Your feature
Hmm.
beat you on your and sometimes like, yo, y'all gotta relax on that. Sometimes that does happen, but Nels, he snapped. I like what he did. I like what Charles did on his verse too. It's one of those things where at first when I heard it, I didn't think it was Charles. Like his voice sounded like a little bit different. I don't know if he went in the studio, maybe he had a cold or he might have been sick a little bit. But at first when I heard it, I'm like, wait, what is Charles rapping on here? And I remember he said something about Rip Hamilton. He had a bar about Rip Hamilton. Play
Hmm.
on his name. And I was like, oh, this might be Charles. I'm like, why does it not sound like him? But overall, it's a good freestyle though. Like sometimes, especially during this mixtape era, I'm cool with no hook. You just barring out, and then it's just two people just barring out. You give a bunch of bars, you give a bunch of bars, song over, next song. So overall, that's a cool song. I rock with it.
It's okay. I, I was listening today, and you know how like you start listening for just like lyrics and content, like what kind of bars to bring to the show. And I can't remember. I want to say it was this song. It might have been a different one, but Charles just in the middle of his verse, so it won't beat me. I'm just smoking dust. I'm like, wait, what? Like just out the blue, bro. And I'm like, bro, 06, 07. So that means he's what at that time? Like 18, 19, something like that, 20?
About 18, 19. So
Bro, just randomly busted out, yo, I'm smoking dust. And then just going into the bar and into the rest of the rap, like just regular. Like, bro, that's you just can't be just randomly saying something and just going cool. But like,
but it's Charles though. You gotta remember, Pink Lava Lamp that was recorded
yeah,
around around that time.
I
Him
know.
being 18, and we know what he went through. So
Yeah, I
that's what
know.
he was doing. So not saying he was always doing that, but I'm saying in his past though, like
It's just, I don't know. It was just a way that he was rapping and like it was like an inconvenience, like in the bar, like and now we right back to our regular scheduled programming. But it was cool. Yeah, Nails went off. Nails was going crazy. Go let him go first. Probably was the most beneficial thing. I feel like Nails had most of the song, right? A
I,
good portion.
it felt like it. Like at
Yeah.
first I listened to it. I'm like, wait, did Charles really even rap on here? I'm like, I hope they didn't do him dirty where they only gave him like a 16. I listened to it again, and I didn't count the bars, but I think pretty much had like equal amount, but Nell might have did like maybe an extra 8 or something like that, extra 8 or something. But
Yeah. But he went off. He had a really good verse. I think it's still one of those songs where I'm like, do I need it? No. If it came on, would I listen to it? At times, for sure. But it's here. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's not saying it's bad, but it's not something I'm gonna go search out if that makes sense.
all right.
Throw some pink. One of the greatest beats of all time. Uh, as we all know, Rich Boy, throw some D's. You hear once you hear them chords, you already know what the song is. You already prepping yourself. Uh, yeah, you instantly get the vision of the dude with the sunglasses who you've never seen without them. The big old bait hoodies that was being worn at the time. A great one of the greatest singles of all time. And I think Charles did it justice, man. He did it in his own very Charles way, very unique. Kept it real pink, you know what I'm saying? Uh, I like the line about you can give me head off the, while you jumping off the top rope. Like that's an insane visual. He kills it, man. It's one of those ones where I anytime it comes on, I'll definitely listen to the song. Yeah. What about you?
So for me, I remember when the original Throw Some D's came out, and then there's a couple remixes. I remember what was it? Andre 3000, I think he had a verse on Throw Some D's. Kanye had a verse on Throw Some D's. I think Soulja Boy, he had his own little Throw Some D's song when he's talking about school. So like this era when like people were making their own remixes, whether it's a parody or just a regular remix,
Hmm.
that's the stuff I would look up on YouTube when I was like, yo, who's on the Throw Them D's remix, or who made their own remix that I could listen to? That's the type of stuff I look at. I want to say at some point I feel like I heard this on Charles's original blog. And I'm like, yo, what is this? And I was rocking with it. Like you said, he did it in his own way where it was him spitting at the same time, being kind of silly with it. Cause, when you really listen to it, throw some D's on that bitch, like it sounds kind of funny. You know what I mean? Especially how people have played around with the words. But overall, I still think it's a good remix. I like it though. It's one of those things where I still go back to. If I'm not going to listen to the original, and I'm like, you know what? Let me listen to some of these remixes of Throw Some D's. This is one of them that I go back to. I like it.
Did you ever do a jump to throw some D's?
I actually did not. I don't know why. I think at the time, like I just didn't have any ideas for it, and I was just like, just I like the song enough, but not enough to actually make my own remix. But this is definitely one of them I probably should have jumped on just to get more buzz. But nah, I was like, I'd pick some. I'd rather pick something else. But it's fun to see everyone else do it though. So
You remember the official Throw Some D's remix? Do you remember who was all on there?
I think Andre was on there.
Yes.
Was Wayne on there or no? He probably has his own remix. Wayne probably has his own remix.
Right, exactly.
Wayne remixed everything.
Oh, the Wheeze mix. Wheezy mix.
Oh, the Wheeze mix. So nah, just tell me because I'm not gonna remember.
I literally remember I remember 3000. I thought Kanye was on the original one, but I think he did a separate one too. Kanye's was fire, by the way. I remember
It
now. I
was
got to go listen to that again. He killed that jump. This is when whoever was writing for him was killing it.
damn.
Andre 3000, Jim Jones,
Oh shit.
Nelly, Murphy Lee, and the
Wow.
Game. What kind of Power Ranger setup is this shit?
So here's my thing, right? Um, Nelly, I don't remember Nelly being on there at all.
Bro, I don't
Murphy
either.
Lee, I don't really remember Murphy Lee, but I do remember, everybody was rocking with Murphy Lee at one point, and then he just dipped. He like disappeared. It's like, bro, what the hell happened to him?
Yeah.
Um, the game, the game was on like a couple of people's remixes because this is after he left G Unit. He like started just jumping on other people's remixes and stuff like that, whatever. And everyone was cool with it. This is before he just like started trying to beef with every single person like he does now.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing too much. I that's probably what it is. Reason why I remember Andre so much because when I would go places, oh, we're gonna play the remix. They play Andre's part, they play the hook off, and then
Yeah.
Jim Jones. balling, balling,
Yeah,
balling every damn song, balling,
yeah.
ball every damn song. He always had to put that ad lib in there. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad because that was his hottest song. You know, but literally, I only remember Andre's part, and I think that's because everyone would just play Andre's part, shut it off after that.
Yeah. I mean, he of those of that group, he was the one that had the most memorable verse. That's the one I remember vividly.
Yep.
Um, then we have the Hamiltonian roast where all of his friends just get in the booth and go crazy. Shalik, Rel, Young Nate, and Jack just hop in and just decide to just shit on this man. Obviously in good fun, but it was funny.
It's the New York way. You know what I mean? It's one of those
Yeah.
things where, of course, if you're friends with people, you can clown on each other because y'all are cool about that type of shit. Other
Mhm.
people, it's like, bro, you don't know my man. Chill out. Don't be doing shit like that. One thing, it was interesting that I thought about because like we were talking about Shalik with the staff development episode because he was giving us some gems and everything about behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
And I know he was joking about this, but I think there might have been some truth, maybe not from his end, but from the fans' end, because he was talking about the beat that was played in the background. They're like, "Yo, that's Charles's beat. Yo, no one wants to rap on that." They're like, "That's Terrible and all that." And of
Mhm.
course, they know Charles is talented. They just fucking around with him. You know, you talk shit to your mans and all that. Um, but one thing I thought about, I'm like, "Yo, you know what? I think that's something true with certain fans after Charles, didn't work with Shalik as much on certain beats, and Charles is doing his own chops because he wanted. I know Charles. He wanted to separate how he did his chops from Shalik's chops, so
Mhm.
they have a completely different sound. Because at one point, I do remember it being like, "Oh man, Charles, you snapped on this beat. Oh, that's Shalik. He did that. Whatever. It's like, nah, now I gotta change my shit up so y'all don't think
Mhm.
I'm biting off my man's." Um, but I feel like that's where some type of disconnect happened with certain fans. Like, oh, he changed his beats up, so now it doesn't sound like this anymore. 'Cause I think they were so used to like the Shalik sound when he
Mhm.
was working with them so much that they're just like, oh, this other stuff doesn't sound up to what I'm used to. And it's like, it's just different production. It's the same thing as someone like Eminem, right? At some point, he wasn't working with Dr. Dre as much, and it's just like, oh well, I don't like how this sounds now. It's like, well,
Mhm.
it's different producers, man. You're so used to a certain sound, like certain things grow and evolve and change. You can't expect me to rap to the same sound. Otherwise, you're gonna be like, oh, you need to switch it up. It's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. The both swords angle. Like you're gonna be mad if I don't switch it up. You're gonna be mad if I switch it up too much.
Yeah.
But that was just something. Of course, they were joking about that, but
Yeah, no, I agree. I used to that was an issue for me. I used to be confused like which one was a Shy beat and when was a Charles beat. So I can see that being an issue. Uh, I think I even asked Charlie, like, which ones? I was like, we need like a list of your contributions because sometimes I do get confused unless Charles said at the beginning, like, yo, shout out to Shalik or something like that to kind of differentiate which is which. Um, but yeah, it's just, different production. So it's just like when Charles had some Woody beats, it was the same thing. It's like they just different production. So if you like Woody beats and Charles don't rap on those, then it's gonna sound different to you or whatever. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Um, Boy Who Cried Wolf is on here. And since we've already gone over this on Pink Lava Lamp, I feel like we don't need to do it again.
no, we don't. But I was kind of wondering why is this on here at the same time. This probably was before Pink Lava Lamp officially came out. I guess, like I said,
Mhm.
even though it got released later on. But I'm just like, yo, what the hell? I thought like my YouTube was acting funny. I'm like, nah, what was going on
Yeah.
with this? But yeah, Boy Cry Wolf, Pick Live Lamp. Yeah,
Great song.
it is definitely.
Great song. Come As You Are, featuring BA and ISA.
So, um, pretty interesting take I'm about to have on this. Because Charles he raps on I don't know if you want to call it rapping. It's like a singy, songy type of like rapping, like
Mhm.
a melodic thing he's doing. And it's not really too much rapping he does. Like it's kind of at first I'm like, oh, he's doing like a hook and whatnot, but he keeps going with it. And then eventually BA and ISA, they come on there and they rap. Um they go in for their bars. They
Yeah.
snap. Both of them go crazy. And it's interesting because it's that whole angle that people look at, like, oh, some of the people Charles is around, like BA, ISA, and Nate and them, they be
Yeah.
talking about this, and that, the bang, bang,
Mhm.
shoot them up, clap them up. And that's not necessarily what Charles does on his songs. He can talk about that, but that's just not his style. But they snapped. They snapped on theirs. Charles, like I said, he had a singing songy type of thing. I was a little indifferent towards that. I'm like, he did it for like his whole thing. I'm like, all right, okay. And then BA and I say they come through and they spit their shit. And I'm like, dope, dope. Um, Another song where basically I'm like, man, like, not gonna lie, like I'm liking the features more than I'm liking Charles on here. But overall, it's a cool song though.
I think it also a lot of these have to do with, like we said, uh, these may be tailored more to the features more than it does to Charles. And Charles like kind of acts as like the quote unquote R&B feature here with the singy songy type of whatever, and let BA and ISA do like kind of the rough guy, tough guy raps or whatever to let them handle that part of it, which is kind of blends into the song as come as you are. You don't got to be something different, just be who you are and just that's what you do or whatever. Uh, yeah, it's cool. It's a cool song. I like I said, BA and ISA got off, so that kind of helps it. There are a lot of times where I'll have a song. Well, there's a song like this, and I feel like the features aren't up to snuff, and it kind of bogs it down. But I think this one kind of lifts it a little bit up.
Agreed, agreed.
Charles checks his voicemail. The next one, uh, which leads into "She Hate Me," which
I,
opens with
Good.
a with an amazing voicemail. It's an amazing voicemail. It's a sad voicemail to be perfectly fair. It's a sad voicemail.
So this is the era of Charles definitely, recording his voicemails and putting whoever on blast, whether they're saying something nice or, hey, Charles, call me back, or Charles, you're a piece of shit, fuck you, or whatever the case is. But this was like we were talking about. This is like Charles when he was like a teenager, 18 or something like that. So like this is just, he was loving him and leaving him, I suppose. But into the song. That's the little brother, right? The
Yes, sir.
uh
Knife Wonder.
black sir. Shout out Knife Wonder. Classic little brother track. Um Charles basically talks about his escapades and some girls that he's been with around the way, probably some Brooklyn girls, maybe
Mhm.
not, but talking about some of the girls he's been with. I know you had a bar about basically how, how much more can I say or how much more can I go on about this girl, that girl? Oh, the one in the voicemail. How about I'll talk about her? And it's like, man, what a player. Like it's one of those things where like sometimes I wonder what it would have been like to be around in that area, like around Charles. And
Mhm.
because it's one of those things where like we will always hear, oh, Charles is geeky, he was nerdy, but he was getting girls though. So it's always funny to me because for me, anybody I knew that was like nerdy or too geeky, they weren't out there. They weren't out there. You know what I mean? Charles was out there. So it's just like it's always cool to see, the loser that's
Mhm.
actually getting girls. So it's like, is he really that much of a loser? You know what I mean? So, but it's a good track. It's good remix.
Yeah, and like being geeky and nerdy in that era, you weren't supposed to get girls like that, bro. Like, I don't care if you were to rap, play sports, it usually didn't translate as well because it sounds bad, but I think in high school and like in school type situations, a lot of times whoever you're dating is a status move. So like you want to be with your jocks or your stuff like that. The people higher status in school or whatever. Could that boost your status, quote unquote? So although he was a good rapper and was probably good at musician, that didn't really translate back in 06, 07, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, no matter how much he says he's a loser, bro, every time you on a song, it's like a different girl, bro. So you had to have had some type of pull. Um, yeah, yeah. But I'm like you, like imagine being around during this time period, and you're like, oh, hey, what's up, so and so. Then like 2 days later, you're like, oh, I'm bringing my girl to the studio. Like, all right, cool, man, bring her over. And it's a whole different girl. You're like, yo, dog, what?
And the code is like, oh, what happened to
Mm-mm.
no? What happened to what? Never mind. I forgot, bro. My bad. Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Come on,
what
man.
happened to that snare? I got rid of it. Yeah, that's all. The record's great. Obviously, this is another one of the ones where I was like, the original. I love the original. Again, I already told that story about that Little Brother album. The next one, which Charles actually mentions in the song, where he says, "I don't know why I'm sounding like Wheezy on this joint. Oh, maybe because I heard him on the joint." If you know that song, I think it's Dedication to, and it's called "I Think I Like Her." I think I love her. Lil Wayne goes crazy on that song. I just listened to that yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, he really does go off on this shit. But Charles does his thing, man. I really love the record. Like I said, he really just he's take you on a journey of all the women that he's been around, man, and that he was knocking down at this time period. Got two girls that knew that hate each other and knew about each other, knocked them both down. What a risky man. Basically said that you'll see stains in a girl's eye because that's where I shot my thing at. Like he was going nuts on this record, bro. It was crazy, literally.
I was about to say that. Skeet, 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 skeet. God
But yeah,
damn.
it's definitely one of my favorite records for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, it's funny because you think about that. Everyone has their own body count, or whatever, and it's at being that young and having so much experience.
Mm,
It's always interesting to hear those type of stories.
yeah. Up next is probably the most random song on the tape. I'm gonna be honest. They call me Charles, which is a rap over Snoop Dogg's "What's My Name."
So I don't know how I heard this song. It might have been like when I first heard this tape, whenever.
Mm,
But I remember hearing this and same thing. I'm like, this is so random. Why is he rapping on this beat?
mm,
And he does like the whole homage to it because, like I said,
yeah.
he raps just like how Snoop does in the first verse. But it's not bad. It's not bad. I rock with it. It's the same type of feel you get. It's just him doing his own version. Nothing wrong with it. It was funny because it's really short. He only does like the verse, then the hook, and then he just kind of talks like a pimp for the rest of the time. And
Mm,
it's funny now because currently he's on the West Coast, so it's like maybe he had aspirations all this time to be on the West Coast because he just felt the vibes. And Charles talks about that a lot more now currently about how the West Coast is. It's like it's different. Of course, he always loves New York. New York is
mm.
home. You know what I mean? But West Coast is just it's just a certain place. You gotta be there to experience it. I did find it funny at the one point. He's like, "Yeah, I could keep going and keep rapping, but I just don't want to." I'm like, "All right, well, I guess that's it." Just he goes out. So I'm like, "All right, I respect it. Just one verse, one and done. All right, cool song."
Yeah, definitely a cool homage. Uh, Snoop Dogg, one of my favorite rappers, the most famous rapper in the existence of all rappers. I don't think anyone even questions that no more. Snoop Dogg can sell you anything, is what I've learned. And Charles does a good job on this. Honestly, with Charles being in LA, I would say Charles hop on some West Coast beats, man. Like those old G funk, those things. I would like to hear more of that. I think he does a great job of that, and he kind of does that with a lot of his, or he adds a lot of funk to his beats now that he makes, especially on the lives. With the way that he chops up old samples and then kind of funkifies them. So yeah, I would like to hear more of that for sure. Um, I think this is my least favorite song coming up. Get Wild featuring Hugo Boss. I wasn't a fan. It's the beat. I think the beat has a lot to do with it. I just wasn't a fan of it. I don't know what the original is. And once it comes on, I'm listening. I'm like, I can't get jiggy with it. No Will Smith. It just wasn't my vibe.
I get you. With this song, this is the one time I think it's the opposite, where normally, like I said, this whole tape, I've been like, man, the features have been kind of like,
Hmm.
going one up on Charles. And this is like kind of like the standard where like felt Charles, he did well with the beat. Hugo didn't do terrible with it, but it's one of those things where like the feature did not outshine the actual original artist this time. And I think it's okay. Overall, I think it's okay. It has like a chill vibe, like something that you could kind of dance to, kind of vibe a little bit with. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know, maybe that era of like music kind of transitioning, but not knowing what to transition into.
Mm,
Because, between 2006, 2007, maybe a little bit of 2008, music was like trying to figure out, especially rap music. It's like, what am I? Like, where are we going with this? Are we going into the rocker style? Are we going more back into the old rap that we used to like? Or are we trying to go into something new? I don't
mm,
know. It's like that futuristic, but not futuristic type of music, that movement. I don't know. But overall, the song's okay for me. It's okay.
yeah. Yeah, I think that time period we're in this weird mix, especially '07. I mean, we're the same age, so like we're we're in that I'm a rock star style thing, and then we're slowly transitioning to all these snap and dance songs because I think we're about to really start getting to the Soldier Boy crank that and stuff like that. So like it's that really weird time, and I don't know if that this was necessarily an attempt to try to do that, but I think it was kind of a precursor to what was coming.
I think the biggest issue that happens sometimes with music in any genre or any year is when you're trying to do something different and you do something too different to the point where like people currently listen to it, they're like, nah, that's not it. But then like 3 years later, yo, if he just did this, a
Hmm.
little bit later, it's like, man, like it don't matter now because
Right.
it happens.
Yeah. In a jam. Now this is the song that previously I said on episode that I was like, I know that Swiss was a member, and again, like I said, now we know that's BA. Which is weird because it doesn't say featuring BA, it doesn't say featuring Swiss. It just says in the jam. I really like this song. This is one that I picked up later on in life, and actually, I remember this song. I remember listening to this song not on this tape, but on one of the other Demevolist tapes, which I forgot what it's called. We'll review it one day, I assume. But Charles does it's like a story basically. Charles is in a different area, runs up on some guys, raps about it, pulls out the tough guys or whatever. But Charles isn't a tough guy, so he doesn't really want to deal with that. They start chasing him or whatever. Pulls out the pink race and has to call up one of his tough guys, man. That's Swiss, and I'm gonna be honest. Swiss might have got Charles on this one.
I think by design of the song, that's how it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
And it's funny now because I'm realizing it throughout the history of some of these songs that Charles will do, where he'll do a feature with someone,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like I talked about before with that project, The Bully and the Pet. You know,
Hmm.
basically, let's say Swiss is the bully, Charles is the pet. Charles, for the most part, he usually plays the pet in these songs where it's like, I'm either getting chased or I'm about to get jumped or something's about to happen to me.
Hmm.
And then whoever else is on the song, they play the I'm the tough guy. I'm about to either, fuck somebody up or
Hmm.
I'm the one coming to do the saving. And it's like, damn, like this might be like a trope that Charles, normally rocks with because it just works well with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in this type of song, I don't think it can be any other way. You know what I mean? Like there's no way that you can out rap the bully and make it still sound good because then the whole bully's thing is to be tough. So the bully's supposed to shine in this type of song. If he doesn't, then it's like, what's the fucking point? Like, how are you going to out rap me? And you said you need help. Nigga, you don't need my help, then I'm out. I'm leaving. Like seriously, so you think about that. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, with wrestling. You know what I mean? Like the good guy is supposed to have sympathy, he's supposed to get beat up, and then one of the other guys is supposed to come over and help me.
Hmm.
If I'm holding my own, why are you waiting through the curtain? Oh, he's good. Oh no, he's good. He'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like
Can you imagine? Right? Can you imagine like somebody being like getting jumped and then like you see the tide turn like, oh, the baby safe's winning, and then like the dudes in the back press your music and he's like, oh yeah, 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 oh, turn that shit off. He good? Like, no, he good, bro.
like you gotta get like more numbers. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
imagine someone like especially in his Super Cena era, John Cena, like he could normally take two people down or whatever. Now if you get like three or four, then it's like, hey, just yeah, go ahead and send like an extra
yeah,
person to help him, But like it'd be like two scrubs or something like that, just like, oh man, he's getting no, oh no, he's good. He's completely fine. Never mind. Anyone else coming? No? All right, never mind. All right, we
yep.
good.
Yep, down the card y'all go. Uh, yeah, but Charles, like I said, Charles has a good first verse, and the Swiss kind of really cleans it up, really like really nice. Uh, yeah, really smokes his verse. Really smokes his verse. What was I gonna say? I had something in my mind. Oh yeah, Charles had like and a good point about how like he plays his part in this. I feel like another analogy that he likes to use a lot, and I feel like this is kind of where it makes a lot of sense, is the Steve Nash analogy he always has. The one basketball player he always says he's Steve Nash. Depending on how you want to look at it, Steve Nash is a two-time MVP. A lot of people think that he should be at a zero-time MVP. At minimum, he should just be a one-time MVP. If you look at the old stats, that's a basketball thing. I had that on other conversations that I really don't feel like having here. But the one thing about Steve Nash is, even though he may not score like a typical MVP does, one of the best things he does is pass the ball. And I feel like a lot on this tape, he assisted very well here. Didn't out overstay his welcome on a lot of songs. Set up somebody to really come in and do a great job. So in a sense, this is like his MVP Steve Nash performance, where let me set these guys up for like some success here. Let me set this verse up in a certain way. I'm gonna sing song this junk so that their verses get amplified or whatever, like stuff like that. Very good Steve Nash impersonation on this tape, I would say, and especially this song in particular for me.
I agree with that. It's one of those things where if a song ends up being successful or a hit, it's still a hit. You know what I mean? Like a song will be like, oh, but it's your song. It doesn't matter if it's my song, his song,
Mm-hmm.
it's our song. It's a group effort. We came together, we made it work. Like there's always gonna be people say, oh, well, you should have. It doesn't matter. We won. We won the
Mm-hmm.
game, right? Then we won. Like stop
Right.
worrying about it. So
The song or the tape ends with outro, which kind of have to be split up in two different talking points. Let's talk about the song first, the verses or the rapping. I think Charles did a good job on it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember it that much. I know I liked it. I just don't remember it that much.
kind of the same for me. Like it's not that it was bad. It's just one of those things for me. Like I'm like it was cool, like I listened to it like, 2 to 3 times. And I'm like, all right, I know he had one part in the song where basically kind of just talking about, when you have one person, even whether the leader or so MVP in the song or on the group, if they fall, the season doesn't end. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like, yo, we gotta keep going and pick up the pieces. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of course, that's how you gotta rock in real life too. So it's just like one of the things like, yo, we're gonna keep rocking and rolling, no matter what happens. We gonna make it regardless. So it's like, yeah, like nice outro, but it's still one of the things where I'm like, it's okay,
Right.
it's all right.
And I think the reason I don't remember as much is because the second half of this outro, which is just so remember the Hamiltonian roast where we like, oh man, they killed him or whatever. It was haha jokes. This was also that, but it was way more aggressive. Like she was killed. I don't know who that was. I don't think I ever caught the name in it. I didn't hear it as much, but she just obliterated this man. Like let him know that he was been in the friend zone, that it probably never happening. Like all type, like very New York type of roasting, and it was both funny, but also like, damn, bro. Like I told you to come in here for like and do this for like 60 seconds. You took like a full 2 minute 30 seconds to do this.
So you gotta understand, that's a New York way of flirting. You know what I mean? Like that's how New Yorkers flirt. I'm pretty sure for the most part. Like dead ass B, yo, your Tim's dirty as shit. You know, you dusty, you dirty. It's like, yeah, that's crazy. She called me dirty. She called me a dirt ball. She likes you, bro. She
Yeah.
like what? That for us, we're like, what? That's not that. Yo, don't be scared, man. It's just just come on, man. So,
Mhm.
um, and it's funny because people like to put up a good bluff, a good game, and all that, but um, you know how it is. Like people when they really roast you, they really care. It's one of those things where like it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And me and you are similar. We have that certain sarcasm where we can tell, other people can't. And I think it's a
Yeah.
thing where like New Yorkers, it's not necessarily sarcasm. It's just a certain tone where you can kind of be like, Ah, they fucking with me. They fucking with me.
Yeah,
Compared to, oh, you fucking with me? Like, oh, yo, what's up then? You know what I mean? So, um, I don't know how else to explain it, but they he definitely got roasted. He definitely got roasted, but with love.
yeah,
Like it was roast. Like the fire was created with love. You know what I mean? Like the heart, soul, and passion that you have for something or somebody.
yeah.
That's what the roast was. It was a roasting of love.
No, I agree. You could tell that it was some love in that room. You could when everybody was talking, you can feel the smiles on everybody's faces that they're talking. You know what I'm saying? So it was just cool to see that. And again, it's just a cool snapshot into like how tight that group was and how tight everybody was at the time or whatever. So it was a different way to end the tape, but it was a fun way to end the tape. I liked it.
Definitely. And one thing I will say, I always tell people, I'm like, regardless if you're joking or not, like this is like a real standpoint for me.
Mm,
If someone says something about me, I'd rather you say it to my face, whether you're joking or not, than you say it
mm,
behind my back. Because at least I know that you said it about me. Like, yeah, whatever. Now, if you repeatedly bring this up
mm.
multiple times, let's say if someone's like, yo, Mike, you got a big nose. You got a big nose. You ever notice how Mike has a big, oh, perfect example I can give you, right? Um, I hate this, and I shouldn't even be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Some people think I sound or look like Ja Rule, right? I've heard that multiple times. I don't, I don't, listen, I'm not the one that brought it up. I can show you videos. I can show you videos of it
Okay,
happening a bunch of times.
two things before we continue. Number
All right.
one, you do not look like Ja Rule. I'm gonna throw that out there. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there. You don't. Number two, do the people that say you look like Ja Rule, does it look like they shop at?
It's everybody. It's not everybody, but
Really?
I've had black, white. I had multiple people say it. I've
That's
had multiple people.
that's
Yeah,
weird.
that it's not like I said. If you were to be like, oh, it was just white people, yeah, I get what you mean. But no. It's I've had black people say it. This is the best way I can explain it, right? Because the black person that did say it to me or whatever, he brought it up, and I'm like, I heard it before, whatever, cool. It's the fact when you keep bringing it up. I remember this dude one time, he had his phone. He's like, yo, he went up to these random girls that we didn't know. He's like, yo, don't my man look like Ja Rule? When you start doing shit like that, I'm like, all right, bro, you're bugging. He pulled out his phone, looked up a picture of Ja Rule. Yo, look at him. Doesn't he look like Ja? I'm like, yeah, bro, nah. At that point, nah. Like when you start doing shit like that, that's weird. That's when I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, now you fucking with me. I don't fuck with that. Anything else, you just joking. Yeah, I don't care about that. But when you start doing shit like that over and over, like they really just roasted me on something like that, like what they're doing with Charles, then I'm like, you might get fucking smacked. I might have to smack you for doing that. But
yeah. That sounds corny. I I might allow that if like we're like with our group of friends. I might let you do the phone thing and the comparison thing. Don't go up to a random set of girls, bro, and do that. Don't do that because like
exactly,
now you playing with me. Now, but
exactly.
now don't make Mike clap back.
Chill, chill. Nah, but like you said, it comes down to like I said, with everyone Demevolist and everything like that, like they're all homies. So they know not to do that in front of random people. You feel me? Like you
Yeah.
gonna say your stuff in front of each other because that's between y'all. When you start
Mhm.
bringing outsiders in the group about that type of shit, that's when it's just like, all right, bro, what are you trying to do, man? Like, especially trying to impress girls and do that. Like, okay, yeah, but that's like you getting your ass whooped for that. Like, who are you trying to impress?
Right.
Especially when homeboy weeks later, I was around these three girls. Yo, which one's single? Nah, I remember the Ja Rule thing. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. It's murder. Yeah, nah, nigga. Yeah. It's done. It's curtains for you. Fuck out of here. Nah, you're not gonna get no girls after that.
Say no.
Now he wants my help.
Uh,
Now you want my help. Okay.
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
That's
That's
crazy.
funny. We just listened to Binge Volume One, staring at the lava lamp, man. Um, let us know your rating. Let us know your pros, any cons, and then let us know what your character rating is for this tape, man.
All right. So this is like a classic tape that we've listened to, some from back in the day.
Hmm.
And I'll be honest, there's some good songs on here. At the same time, I think it's an outdated format. And it's not necessarily anything Charles did wrong. It's just one of those things where when you're listening to music from in the past, If it doesn't translate well into the current or new,
Mm-hmm.
it might leave you wanting a little bit more, something a little bit different. But it's not a bad tape. Overall, I think I'm going to have to give it a Mecha Sonic 2. I think, like I said, the songs were performed well. Like if I heard this back in 2009 or 2008, 7, 6 at that time,
Mm-hmm.
I would have had the same fondness that you would have over it, or I would have rated it higher. But
Mm-hmm.
listening to it now, and like I said, I heard it maybe a few times whenever I did. It's just one of those things where I'm like, there's better projects. There's definitely better projects that Charles has put out, and it's a product of its time. Long story short, it wasn't bad for its time, but hearing it now, there's definitely better projects I would refer everyone else to listen to first before listening to this. But this is the binge one. There's other binges. There's 2, 3, So you got to start somewhere. So where he started from, good start, but there's definitely better out there.
Yeah, so from a final standpoint, I still feel the way I feel about the songs that I like, right? Like the ones that I'm like, if they play right now, I'm listening to them. I still feel that way. Nothing has changed. I still love those songs. They still get playlisted. They still get played. Um, I think as a tape overall, it's it it's okay. It doesn't hit the way I maybe thought it did back in the day. Again, I think I focus on the ones that I really like. Um, the I'll say this: the feature versions are surprisingly better than what I remember. Other than, the one with Get Wild or whatever, I think I liked every feature verse there was on here. Like nothing really was a wasted verse or wasted song or whatever. They may not have been like great songs or ones that I would keep, but like, oh, cool, I'd listen to this again. Like it doesn't turn me off from the song. But I think I'm with you in the sense that there are better mixtapes like this out there from Charles. We might even find out that the other binges are better when we review those. So I think for me, I think I'm on the same rate you are. I'm gonna go Mecha Sonic 2, mainly because I'm like you, like I wouldn't say go listen to Binge one first. Like I wouldn't be like, if you have 10 tapes that you want to listen to first, make sure Binge is one of them. I wouldn't do that. I might not even say Binge the first 20, you should go listen to Binge one. I might not say that. However, I do want you to go listen to it, but just get there at your own leisure. You know what I'm saying? Don't rush to it. It'll be there when you get there. But just know there's probably better versions of this style of tape uh later on or later on your Charles Hamilton journey. But again, the songs that I did like, I think other people will also like because I think those are the standouts on the tape. So yeah, I would go Mecha Sonic too.
All right, there we have it, But either way, you guys still check it out because there's going to be some things that you like that, that you might never have heard before. I don't know how far back you guys have gone with these projects. So, still check it out.
Absolutely, man. And we'll continue to visit some of them older tapes that recorded in '06, '07 era, because and that's another thing. I just think there are better tapes from this era of recording. You know what I mean? That we haven't listened to yet. And I'm like, when you compare it to that one, it's like, maybe go listen to those first, then come to this if that's the order you want to go in. But let us know what you guys think. What would you rate the Binge Volume One? Let us know some of your favorite songs on there. I would tell you to let us know if Mike looks like No, I'm kidding. But you can definitely subscribe to YouTube, man. StarCHaser Central. You can also follow us on Twitter, StarCH Central. We don't have another thing, right? It's just YouTube and Twitter now. We
Yep.
we don't have a TikTok no more, right?
It's still up there. I haven't deleted it, but we don't gotta worry about that.
Okay, cool. But you can also follow us on our individual pages. I'm at Stick Around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. STIK around 54. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On Instagram, you can find me at the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson. On Twitter, Mike D Jackson, Mike DEE Jackson, 1D, 2 E's. Also, make sure you're following Charles Hamilton, the man this podcast is about. Follow Charles Hamilton on Twitter, at Charles Hamilton. Make sure that you follow his YouTube. Subscribe to his YouTube where he does his lives and whatnot. Puts out some new music. I believe recently he put out like a instrumental recently.
Yeah,
But yeah, so check out, his YouTube at the talented Mr. Hamilton. And don't forget to check out his blog, enterthehamilton.blogspot.com. But also feel free to let Stik know if he looks like Booker T or not.
that's
I'm
funny
playing. I'm
because
playing.
that's funny because I was gonna tell you I've never gotten Booker T. One time I went back to my school for a basketball game. I forgot where I was coming from, but I had been somewhere, or whatever. So I put a fit on or whatever. I think I was going out later. So
Yeah.
I had a big jacket, like a bigger jacket. I had sunglasses on. I had a bandana tied to the front with the knot in the front or whatever. And whatever, it's the fit I wore. Bro, I walk in there. Also, my school is very snow. Big
All
snow
right.
school. Okay.
All right.
I walk in there, bro. It's a basketball game, so it's not quiet. Okay, so I'm not walking to like a ballroom. I'm not walking into like a chess match. It's loud in there, bro. I walk in there. It's like, oh shit, it's 2 Chainz. I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh shit.
I was like, hey, yo, dog, if I knew where that came from, I swear to God, I would go over there and rock somebody. But I let it go, bro. I feel your pain with that shit, bro.
Nah. Well, you already know what it is. Like, especially for you, it's like you don't look like any of those people. It's just like, oh, you're tall and dreads. Oh, you look like so and so. So
Yeah.
literally, I remember when I just had my goatee. Someone's like, oh, you look like Kanye West because Kanye West has a goatee. I'm like, not even close, bro. Like I'm like at least like I could like the voice thing with Ja Rule, whatever. I could hear that, whatever. But certain things people want to say, I'm like, not even close. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just racist. You're just being racist at this point.
It's
So
badly. It's horrible. Uh, um, but that's the world we live in. But be sure to let us know what you want us to review. We've got some cool suggestions in the comments. We check the comments, I would say daily, maybe every 1 to 2 days. So if you have anything you would like us to review, you can add it to the list. Just put it in the comments. Um, we'll start thinking of some more specials to do for you guys. And yeah, this was a fun episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Mike, do you have anything for the people before we head out?
Drake is still an alien. They not like us. They not like us. They not like
Hey,
that song's fire. I'm sorry, bro.
no,
Uh
it's fantastic. It's yeah, number one. This is Star Takes Essential, man. We are logging out of Star Takes Essential, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams.
and reach for the stars.